Hi, everybody. How are you all today? Thank you for joining our first Release Notes webinar. My name is Ishem. I am a customer success lead here at Doodle, and I am live from Berlin, Germany. Thank you all for joining us today. So this program is focusing solely on our new feature, which is part of Bookable Calendar. We decided to name it Book on Behalf. And depending on the case, it can also be called Check for Conflicts. But I will be showing you that in more details in a few minutes. So before we start, let's wait a little bit to see if more people join. And I will just introduce you quickly to Doodle. So most of you already are using Doodle. So you already have connected your calendar to your account and you know what is the value in doing that. And most of you already set up a bookable calendar link, which both of those points are prerequisites to use Book on Behalf. And one of the other prerequisites is also to subscribe to your colleagues or stakeholders' calendars within your own agenda solution, being Outlook, Office 365, or the Google Suite. It's more or less the same. You have a few steps inside of your own solution. And once you've done that, then you'll be able to fully use Book on Behalf. And I'm going to cover that in a few minutes. So I will introduce you to the agenda of today. So first, there will be a quick introduction. And then I will go through why we actually came up with that feature. And then I will guide you on how to actually implement it and become an expert user of Book on Behalf. Then I will go into a little bit more details on what you can actually accomplish with that new feature. And last but not least, there'll be also one last sequence where I will give you some more example of how this is actually valuable for you, whatever your line of business. And we will finish with a Q&A. So actually, we have a question box, so you can drop your questions during the webinar. We'll have a look at them at the end. During it will, of course, be focused into our presentation. So I see that we are already 43. Great, thank you, people. That's always nice to have a nice crowd. And we are 3 minutes into the webinar. So I think that we can safely just start right now. And this is exactly what I will be doing. So as I said, my name is Ishem, and I'm a customer success lead at Doodle. So Doodle is this online platform that is dedicated to scheduling. So we have a very extensive suite of tools to help you gain control back of your time. And this is our motto, own your time. And this feature that I'm about to introduce is exactly designed to do that, bring back control of your own time. So I first must thank Purnima, our amazing product marketing manager, which was a crucial help into bringing this webinar to life. So thank you very much. So now I'm going to walk you through our working process, how and why we came up with that idea. So, well, basically, we do listen to you, our users. You are our main source of input. So we listen to the feedback, we quantify it, and then we try and see what we can actually do to make your life easier. And this is exactly what we did. So this feature was actually backed by popular demand. And on top of that, we did some more user research to make sure that we actually really pinpointed the pain points that you brought to us. And what came out of that are two main pain point or use cases, depending on how you want to look at it. So the first one was to make sure to find the right time for mutual availability with external or internal stakeholders. And the second point was actually how can we handle a third-party availability for them, Book on Behalf. Well, that is exactly what I'm going to show you. So I will be sharing my screen right now. You should actually be able to see it. already. Okay, so this is my dashboard. And basically, this is the heart of your Doodle experience. And this is where you'll be able to find everything that you've created, including the Bookable Calendar links. Okay, so basically here I already created one with a few titles that I illustrate later. So let's start with this one. So basically, to set up a Bookable Calendar link, it's very easy. You already have your calendar connected, so you just click on Bookable Calendar. It will prompt you to this screen that you should already be familiar with. So I'm not going to cover those points. It's quite intuitive and user-friendly. So basically, you just go here on check for conflict. So this area here will actually be the heart of your Bookable Calendar experience. This is where you can select, if I click on it, select the calendar that you want to have connected to that specific link. So whatever the use case, whether it is check for conflict or book on behalf or the group availability, this is where it will happen. So either you are in a setup for checking for conflict, meaning that you need to make sure, in this case, that Robert, for example, and Hannah are available. So you just go ahead, select the calendars, implement the rules that you need. This is the bookable calendar part. Add a question if need be. And then just to make sure that everything is actually running the way it's supposed to, you click on preview. And then on preview, you have access to the calendar view. Week after week, this is what will be repeated. So for next week, for example, all of those time slots, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., etc., all of these are time where not only me, but Robert and Hannah are available at the same time. So now you share that link with an external party, this or even internal for that matter. So this person will click on 9 a.m. and enter mail and name. It will be automatically booked. In my calendar, Robert's and Hannah's directly. I have nothing to do. And also, since we have this amazing Zoom integration, I don't even have to take care of that. It's already in the books. So that's what it does, and that's very easy to set. Now, just to add a little bit more of colors to that example, I will activate the toggle. This toggle actually gives access to my calendar view, and please bear in mind that is only for my eyes only because it's my account. This is not displayed to anybody else's. People clicking on the link will only be able to see this view, this exact view, nobody else. If you're busy with yoga or a workshop or, I don't know, a clay class or whatever, this is nobody's business. We do enforce your privacy with the utmost rigorous approach, upholding the most strict regulations. We're in Europe, so it would be GDPR. So yeah, this is only for you to actually have the visual example. So now that I activated that toggle, that is how it looks. You have 3 different color codes. I think I'm in green, maybe Rob is in blue, and Hannah in yellow. So the system respects scrupulously the rules that I've put in place and only offers the times where all of us are actually available. So that is great. Now we'll just close the preview and move back on to check for conflicts. So now this is where you can actually do everything. So this was check for conflict. So now if I were to actually go for book on behalf, now I deselected every calendar. Again, the reminder that those calendars I can only see because I've already subscribed to them within my own personal, in this case, professional agenda, right? So now I'm just going to go into book on behalf mode. As you can see, this is my calendar. I didn't select it. This is unchecked. meaning you get a message that this will have a different impact. So now let's say that I want to book on behalf Ricardo. So Ricardo is aware, of course, because everything that will be booked now will be booked in his calendar through mine. So that is the rationale about it. So now I removed myself from it, so I will not be part of that meeting. And if I click on the preview, it will look differently because it's not my calendar and it's not my availability. And if I activate the toggle, you can actually see something entirely different, right? So that is how it works. So now if somebody clicks on a time slot, enter the emails and name and book it, it will be booked in Ricardo's calendar, but it will still appear in my calendar because it goes through my calendar to be booked in Ricardo's calendar. So that's the workaround. Now, the event will be visible in my calendar as well, but it will not be completely marked as busy, right? So I will still be free for any meetings booked using a Doodle product, but in my normal calendar, it will appear as busy. So that's one thing to keep in mind so that you don't have a surprise or any confusion. So just to very much emphasize on that, the event is booked from my calendar into Ricardo's calendar in that example. It will appear in his booked with the Zoom link if you have that integration. And at the same time, it will appear in my calendar also as blocked. But if somebody clicks in my other links to book a meeting with me, it will still be offered as free. So that is the very specific point I wanted to clarify in here. So that is book on behalf. It's, as the name say, you select someone that you want to book on behalf for. You can just make sure that you select the right calendar and then share it with the people and let the magic operate. Now we have one last thing that we can do together, and it's called group availability. So basically, it is the same scenario, more or less. You just go ahead and select all the people that you need to have in that meeting. So since it's a group, you can select many of those. Then you click on save, and then you have 2, 4, 6, 8 people. So now that link here, the link that is generated with this bookable calendar with book on behalf being activated will make sure that the person clicking on that link will book the times that are available for all of those 8 people at the same time. So it will only offer the joint availability. And this is extremely powerful. I mean, we have another feature that covers more or less the same. It is Doodle Group, but this is Doodle Group on steroid. You just need to go select the calendars and share the link. And again, let the people choose the times that make sense for them based on the rules that we've implemented in here. With Doodle Group, it still gets the job done with a little bit more manual work. So yeah, that's very amazing. I personally love those features. I will be using them a lot. So how and why use those features? Well, let me run you through a few scenarios. Oh, and for the record, you can have more than one bookable calendar with those features integrated. As you can see, I have many, one for each specific use case that I encounter. So let's start with a more concrete example, right? So let's say that I need to create a link because we have a job opening and I need to interview a few candidates that make it through the second round. And in order to do that, I need to have all the internal stakeholders in it. So it's not only me, but the line manager and the HR. So we all need to be there to meet this applicant, squeeze him or her a little bit and make sure that this person may actually be a good fit. So instead of doing it the old school way, I just create a link, making sure that all the people I need are integrated in it by clicking on this edit button and selecting the calendars that are relevant for my need. Putting in place the features that I need. I can even add a question. So for example, please share your resume beforehand. For example, smiley face. We can be polite about it, right? Ah, confusing. There you go. So, and then you can just, yeah, click on preview so we see how it looks like from the applicant's perspective. So this week there is no availability. Oh, not at all. Actually, we would actually have room for a few time slot. That's great. So the job applicants have more than one option. That is great. So yeah, just close the preview, click on done, and then share the calendar with the people that need to actually book with us. So I'm not going to cover this 9 to 5 table that you can change here. It's very intuitive. Bookable Calendar should already be something you're familiar with. And if you are not, we have very extensive online resources in our help center. I strongly invite you to have a look if need be, or our support system, which is also really good. All right, now I just need to click on done and scroll down. There you go. This is my link. I have the overview. I can see who is connected to that, who are the stakeholders, and I can just copy the link. Same for this one. So yeah, and of course I can just pause it if recruiting is frozen, for example, for whatever reason. We can just pause that and avoid having a meeting being booked and then having to cancel them. You can do everything from your dashboard. This is what we're about, making sure that your life is easier by using Doodle, not more complicated. Far from it. We streamline everything on your behalf. So this is my second concrete example. So this one is, actually no, we'll keep this one for later. Let's create a new one from scratch. So in this example, I am the executive assistant, my bad. I always get confused with all those acronyms. I am the executive assistant for a few managers, actually, so it can get a little bit confusing. So to make sure that I know what's going on, I name my calendars. So this one is calendar for CPO, for example, just to make sure. And yeah, I'm not going to touch that. I'm leaving it like it is. So basically, this is a calendar that I need to manage on behalf of my executive, which is a chief product officer in this example. So basically, I'm not a stakeholder. I don't need to be in those meetings. I'm just going to remove myself completely. And then I'm just going to go ahead and select the one person that I need to book for. So say that would be my colleague Eloise. There you go. And you just need to click on save. So now this bookable calendar will actually offer the availability from my CPO, but through my calendar, as I explained earlier. And I'm just creating that for my CPO on his behalf without having to ask him anything or bother him. Things will just happen naturally. Meetings will pop up in his or her calendar without having the executive do nothing, and you don't have to communicate anything. It's just flawless. It's perfect. No friction, no manual labor. You just need to monitor your calendar to keep an eye and see what's going on. Since the meetings also appear in your calendar, you are always one step ahead, and you can make sure that the meetings actually take place in time. So this is a great feature, and it will make any assistant using this feature life much easier. All right, then you just click on done. And as I said, you can have more than one bookable calendar, and you can use more than one book on behalf through the feature. So just in case that it was not clear enough, honestly, Bookable Calendar is like a Swiss Army knife. Inside of it, you have hidden gems, book on behalf, check for conflict, and availability for group meetings. So this is amazing, and all of that packed in just this tiny link, and you can implement everything with one click almost. So now we covered what you can accomplish with that new feature, and as you can see, it's pretty extensive. I just gave a few examples. One last for the road. All right, one last for the road, and this would be. Well, I'm going to reopen this one and edit it, because you can just do that. So this is project A weekly sync. So I have this project that is running for over 6 months. I have internal and external stakeholders. The internal stakeholders, I have access to their calendars. So what do? I just go here and select those calendars. Those are all the stakeholders that I need to attend those meetings to make sure that we bring this project to completion. They're already selected in this example, so I need to do nothing, just close the window. Now, what I need to do is share this calendar with the external stakeholder, which is maybe a contractor that needs to do what we need them to do. And we have to check with that external contractor on a weekly basis to make sure that we are on track and that the deadline will actually be respected. So all I need to do is create a link, make sure that all the stakeholders internally are connected. So the joint availabilities, the one time where we're all mutually available, will be offered to this contractor. And this contractor can find a different time every week based on our joint availability, but also based on his weekly needs, so that we don't need to block anything in our calendars, can just go to our business, go back to our business as anything is normal, and let him or her, the external contractor, find a time when we're actually all free. And that is great. This is, as I said earlier, it's like this one feature that we have in here, group meeting, but on steroid. And again, if you have connected your Zoom account to your Doodle account, the video conferencing link will be sent out with a calendar invitation, and there is nothing else to do but show up on time and access that meeting. So that is great. So now, basically, what I want to tell you is what is the value of this compared to your regular way of scheduling meetings at the moment? Well, let's say that we're in the 21st century and meetings are more and more important, especially with the current situation worldwide. But the old way is not necessarily efficient, picking up the phone, calling everyone, making sure that nobody forgets, sending reminding emails, having this back and forth, basically playing ping pong virtually with people all around the planet sometimes. It's cumbersome. It leaves a lot of room for error. Sometimes the meetings won't even happen because this one major key stakeholder cannot make it. It's not optimal. I mean, it takes so much time, creates so much stress and frustration, and the time that you're dedicating to those old ways are not moments that you can dedicate to your professional or even personal life. So as I mentioned at Doodle, we are all about making you take control back of your time. We want you to own your time. And this is a tool that we provide you to do that. So book on behalf or check for conflict or joint availability, those are features that are there to ensure just that, to eliminate all the unnecessary manual work, both for you as a creator and organizer and for the invitees and participants. So concretely, what are those benefits? How does that translate into dollars or money or savings? Well, Again, let's take this HR example. By using this amazing feature, you can actually increase your time to hire, meaning that the position is filled much faster. So the hiring cost is lower. This person is brought on board much faster, meaning that she can or he can definitely make an impact on business sooner than expected and start to actually generate value for your company. That's just one example. Another one would be a sales executive having to fill in his pipeline constantly to make sure that the closing deal circle is much faster, right? So having a pipeline that's filled in automatically is a valuable gain of time. Making sure that from the moment the prospect contacts you to the moment that you close this deal, one, in a very short amount of time is valuable because you generate cash and you can move on to the next one to close your deal much faster and have a direct impact on revenue. So those are just two little insignificant examples. There are so many more out there. I strongly advise you to really take advantage of those features. I'm sure you can find on a daily basis a way to use it and take advantage of the gain value it will provide you. So yeah, I think that is more or less it for me in terms of the presentation. I think we can open up the Q&A section. So feel free to drop your questions in the question box. I'm going to have a look now. Oh, great. We already have a few questions. So let me have a look of what we have. So I forgot to mention, it's a new webinar tool that we're using for the first time here at Doodle. I find it very intuitive and comfortable to use. I hope that this experience also extends to you, dear attendees. So let me browse through the question. I will start with the first one. So Amy Hartwell, thank you very much for your question. Does the Bookable Calendar come with a paid subscription? Yes, it is part of the premium package, so you can access it with Doodle Pro or Teams or Enterprise. So if I have a Pro account, but my teammates have a basic account, can they participate in this Bookable Calendar as teammates with synced calendars? Well, yes, Rosie Horvat, thank you very much for the question. Yes, indeed. As long as you have access to their account, even if they have basic Doodle accounts, as long as you have access to their calendar, you will be able to use Bookable Calendar, book on behalf, check for conflicts, all of those features. They will be available to you. So does this work for Delegate Calendar? Jennifer Callias, thank you for your question. I am not very much sure what delegate calendars mean, so I will not be able to answer this question. Feel free to drop a line with a bit more context and I'll get back to it. Tina Johnson, my dashboard says create your first bookable calendar. Is there a webinar that sorry, I need to click for the rest, that I can take on creating the bookable calendar so I can use this check for conflicts feature? Yeah, we have an introduction to Doodle webinar that I also run bi-weekly. So yeah, feel free to reach out to the follow-up email that you will be receiving afterwards, and I will either provide you with some online resource or make sure that you register to the next webinar, or we can also have a follow-up consultations. Either way, whatever fits your need, you let me know and I will make sure to match it. So is it possible to view calendars for someone who is outside of your organization? Yes, Rebecca Barlow, it is possible. However, again, it's about asking for permission. So I know it's possible with G Suite, the Google Suite. You can ask access to the calendar, but if it's outside of your organization, that person needs to grant you access. So you can try it. It may work, it may not work, depending on the calendar solution. And this is the limit of what I can assist you with in terms of direct input. Then maybe after we can go into workarounds, etc. But yeah. So does the Bookable Calendar link to Microsoft Teams? Well, Tina Johnson, thank you for bringing that up. I know that I should maybe not say that out loud, but yeah, we are working on it actively, and the unofficial delivery date will be, well, let's say the coming 6 to 12 weeks. I think if I say that, I will not upset anybody. Yeah, it's coming up. So stay tuned, you will be informed. So, not the paid subscription I have. Okay. Okay. Well, I suggest that you upgrade. If today's example was enough to convince you, I hope it was. There is a lot of value into paying for a subscription. And not only because I'm a direct beneficiary from you subscribing, I'm assuring you it's very well, it's money well spent. Does everyone need their own account, or can a company have one account and several users under the company account? Well, this is what we call a Doodle team. Basically, you have one main account, and under it you have several sub-users. So you can have team for 5 users, 10 users, 20 users. If the company is larger, then it would be enterprise tier, and we have amazing sales people that can definitely guide you and make sure that the offer is tailor-fit to the needs of your company. So feel free to use the dedicated page to reach out to the sales team if need be, and if not, then there's also the support team or the customer success team at your disposal. Is there a way to not have the meeting show up on my calendar? Mary Cop. Unfortunately not. This is part of the rational flow when it comes to the technical solution, and there is no other way around it. So yeah. What would you use the copy link feature for? Well, when you use a copy link for, you actually use it to paste the link in your email to share it with the stakeholders that need to meet with you. So you don't have to manually select the link like this or like this. I don't need to go and do that. I just need to click on copy link. Oops, I opened it. I don't need to go on that. I just need to click on copy link, and then I can just share it and paste it. That's it, like this. So now you have access to my other link. So it's very intuitive. It's a way of making sure that nothing get lost. Copy and paste, no room for error. Okay, so my apology if I miss this, but how do I access my contact list in Gmail? I have to enter each name, address individually, which leaves a lot of room for error. Well, this is not covered in the scope of this webinar, but within account settings, you can connect to your address book, and by typing the first letters of the email addresses in question, they will appear, and then you can select them. But you can go in the Help Center to find your answer with clear instructions on how to proceed. Is there a repeating option? Well, Tina Johnson, if I understand your question correctly, there is actually no need for a repeating option because those rules are repeated week after week after week. This is a set of rules that is applied to your calendar and goes on top of what you have as available times, right? So it's, let's put it that way. It's a mirror of your existing calendar, and on top of that mirror, we come and apply the rules that you want the people to abide with when it comes to scheduling with you. So by nature, it will be repeated week after week unless you pause or delete that link. Let me know if it's not clear enough. I will try and come up with a better example. Who owns the calendar events when it's on the Google Calendar? Well, if you generate the link, you will be the owner of the event, Mary Cops. My colleagues and I are in different time zones. Does this default to your own time zone when we see their calendars? Yes, indeed. Yeah. The time zones are dynamic, and this is a very, very good question. I will take a few minutes to actually go in detail. Actually, I will reopen a link just to illustrate my point. So if I go back to this one, calendar for on behalf of my CPO, here if, just a minute, here we have, oh no, it's not in there. If I add more details, no, okay. Oh no, here it is. I knew it was in there. So here you have the reminders. All meetings times will be booked in your time zone. So basically it means that what you see here, it's your time zone. What people will see will be translated into their time zone. So I have a link that is quite generic so that I can actually cover multiple time zones. So if I send you my link, you will see times that don't make sense to you, right? Because it will be 2 a.m. for you, which would be maybe for me my 9 a.m. However, it will definitely offer enough times to cover the lapse. So it is up to you to make sure that the scope of the time within the within the weekly view is wide enough to cover to include also the time zone of your colleagues. So I have colleagues in the East Coast in the US. So if I need to have meetings with them, I make sure that the link I share also covers time till, let's say, till 8 p.m. my time, which will be their afternoon, right? So that's just a tiny bit of consideration to take into account while you're creating the link. So I just need their permission to sync their calendars, right? Rosie Horvat, yes. If it's Outlook, they will need to say yes. If it's an external party outside of your organization using also Google, they will also need to say yes. That is correct. So I work for the University of Wisconsin, so we have a campus-wide account. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. Yes, and thank you again for your business. I hope that you enjoy our services. And I think that yeah, my colleague is the one taking care of your account. So if you have a specific question, delegate calendar. You know what? I will get my colleague to contact you directly, Jennifer. It makes more sense so that you will make sure that we are all about the personal touch at Doodle. So yeah, rest assured, my colleague will contact you. I think it's Ryan, but I'm not 100% sure. But she'll get in touch with you shortly. So very helpful. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Rebecca. It's always nice to have a direct feedback. The Zoom integration, when I book on behalf of Zoom, will be linked mine or my boss? Yeah, very, very, very good question indeed. So the Zoom account that will be linked is the one that you connected to your Doodle account. So if it is your personal Zoom account, then the link will be yours. However, if it's your boss Zoom account that you connect to your Doodle account, then yeah, it will be his or hers. So yeah, thank you as well, Nancy, for attending. I hope it was informative. Yeah, Okay. All right. So Jennifer, yeah, I see more or less what is your use case. I think that you have one joint calendar where you can see the three executives availability. Unfortunately, this would not be supported by a book on behalf. What you would need to do is subscribe to their calendars, to each calendar individually, and generate one link for each calendar, and you name and label them properly so it's not confusing and you can keep track. That would be my direct advice. And as I said, I would also get the customer success manager appointed to your account to reach out to you and clear out the question in more depth. So how do we add other people's calendar to sync with Doodle? Is there another training? Mary, unfortunately, yeah, that's something we cannot train for because it's outside of the scope of Doodle. This is like the product from another company. We can only provide you with guideline and tips. So if it's Outlook, it's very easy. You have two steps. You just need to go into your account settings and find a way to subscribe and wait for the positive answer. If it's a Google Calendar, it's one step. You just click if it's internal to your company. So unfortunately, I cannot illustrate nor share any documentations about that for obvious legal reasons, but it's easy to find out. And a simple, tiny little Google research will definitely provide you with better answer than what I'm giving to you now. All right. Help link. Oh no, not even that. I'm really sorry. I wish I could help, honestly, but no, it's outside of what I can actually provide. Sorry about that. All right, people. Thank you very much. I will definitely take one last question, and yeah, we're over time a little bit, but that's always great. And of course, please take a minute to answer the poll when you exit the webinar. It takes less than a minute, and that would be super helpful. As I mentioned at the beginning, we definitely value your feedback, and for us, it's super important to know what you think so that we can keep on doing it better for you. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a pleasure hosting you, and there will be a recording after that sent to you and a follow-up email. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll do our best to answer you as in-depth as possible. So thank you very much, everybody. Again, have a great day or a nice evening, depending where you are. For myself, it's already the evening, so bye, everyone.